everybody, and welcome to our first freaking episode. Welcome to the pilot freaking episode of the One Up Spot podcast. Heck freaking yeah.
Yes, very excited.
Per heckin'.
Yes, sponsored by Per heckin'.
So I am your host today, Mocha Leela, or Mocha, or Cassie, however you want to address me. Whichever way. This is Coffee Cat or Cat.
Whichever way you would like to address me, either is fine.
Yes. And this is our first freaking podcast episode. I'm really excited about it. We're just two best friends talking about just everything nerdy, everything like
our normal
streaming and things, our normal day to day, essentially.
The normal things we talk about, just not...
Just live.
Just live. Yeah.
So, we do have a, we are putting this up on YouTube. We are also having this on Spotify podcast and Apple Podcast. So be sure to check out the episodes there, for more. But, let's, I guess, dive right on into it, right?
Yeah. What are we talking about today?
So today, we're talking about nostalgia.
Oh,
we're talking about childhood games. I think this was like a good, first freaking episode to do because I don't know. I have like a lot of nostalgia games for me. Same. And I know you do as well.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we're going to dive right onto it. So
please.
When did you first start... Like, when did you first start playing games, I should say, and what system, and what was your first game?
I was 3. It was the SNES, and I remember being Donkey Kong Country. Grandma was a gamer.
Okay.
Parents were also gamers, but Grandma was gamer.
Uh-huh.
And I remember trying it, and then she would... and failing, let's be honest here. Trying and failing as a kid.
Well,
because, it's a
you're
platform.
3 years old. You're 4 years old. Like
3 or 4 years old. Freaking platformer games like Donkey Kong and Mario. And I remember her coming in and just being like, it's okay, we'll do it together.
Oh, that's really sweet.
And freaking Grandma killing it on these games. Like, Grandma knew what she was doing.
Of course. She's got this.
But yeah, no,
Did she play, like, Pong and things like that back in the day?
All that stuff. Like, she was a gamer, and I loved it because I feel like her gaming
inspired you to keep gaming and things like that.
Especially starting off at such an early age, it really led into me playing them throughout my life.
Yeah. Interesting.
But what about you?
So, I started when I was, I think, also 3 or 4. I'm probably thinking I was more like 4 years old. And I had the Sega Genesis. My parents just had it laying around, and I basically picked it up, and there was Sonic the Hedgehog on it. So I started playing that. That was my very first game. I also played some PC games, and I can't remember if I played this PC game first or the Sega Genesis game, Sonic the Hedgehog, I should say. But I don't know if you remember Duke Nukem.
I do remember Duke Nukem.
Okay. So, Duke Nukem, for those in the audience that has no idea what we're talking about, it was a very blocky, like, 90s, like, first-person shooter. It basically looked like Minecraft in a way, like, really bad.
But you went pew-pew instead.
But you went pew-pew, like, instead of, like, dig or something.
Dig.
Dig.
Oh, good Lord.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, no, Duke Nukem was really good. But it was one of those like janky games that like, I mean, you're very nostalgic over, but I don't remember if it was like that game or Sonic that were my actual first like games playing. So
nice though. It's crazy to see we started in different spots.
So Kat actually grew up as a Nintendo kid, and I grew up as a Sega kid. So, I do know, like, the Sega games, or, not the Sega games, the Nintendo games, and, like, Kat knows, like, of the Sega games and things like that. Like, I remember playing a little bit of, like, the SNES and things like that, but, like, in N64 and things.
Oh, N64.
But, like, like, I didn't I didn't have any of those systems. So I did have Game Boy and stuff. Like, that was like my Nintendo. Essentially my Nintendo console, essentially.
I think a neighbor had a Dreamcast. So I've seen, like, the Sonic games played, and I kind of dipped my toes into them, but we never owned a Dreamcast. We always had, like, the SNES, and then we eventually got, like, the N64, and...
Yeah. Oh,
I think the N64 was really when gaming, like, happened, and I started to dive into
more
gaming. Yeah.
So, and then, so, like, another, like, PC game, and this is, I guess, like, more, like, later on, because I did game on PC a little bit, but it was, like, little mini games, too. Yeah. Like, I did, like, Netstorm was another one, which is kind of like a Command and Conquer, like, type of game.
Yeah.
And it was, like, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Civilization, if anybody knows Civilization. But, like, yeah, it was basically that, and, like, my family would play it with me. So, like, my family essentially played a lot of games with us, so.
Yeah, same. We played a lot of games.
Yeah. So, and then, so it was, like, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Street Fighter was another one. So Street Fighter 2 was my first, like, fighter game, I should say. And, like, gosh, like, the OST for it and the characters were so good. And, like, I would actually play with my sister. But, like, yeah, and, like, it's so funny because, like, I was really young. And so it was kind of, like, like, not really for, like, little children.
I mean, it could be
like babies.
Worse.
It could be worse.
You could be on Mortal Kombat as a kid.
Oh,
because
that's true.
Someone had an older cousin. It's me, I'm the someone, who
Mortal Kombat was good.
Who had Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
And I believe rating systems came out because of Mortal Kombat.
And I watched a,
Yes.
I watched a Netflix documentary, and I don't remember, honest to God, I don't remember the name of it, but it actually recently kind of came out. I want to say within, like, the last year or so. It's really interesting, and I don't think it's out really anymore, but it's really something interesting maybe to look into. But it's, like, the history of gaming and, like, where it all started and, like, how it developed and things like that. And I think we got up to I think it was N64 or something. It was really interesting to see, like, how it all started and everything like that. So it talked about Mortal Kombat and how it was, like, one of it was a more violent game, and, like, that's kind of how, like, the rating system came into be. So, which is really funny because, like, it's not E for everyone.
Oh, absolutely
no.
not. Could you, like, imagine being, like, little me and your cousin? What is his name that rips the spines out of people? Is it Scorpion?
I think it's Scorpion.
And is it Scorpion?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's
I'm
Scorpion.
not super familiar with Mortal Kombat names. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't get super into that.
I think you're right with Scorpion.
But I think it's Scorpion, and he rips out, like, it's to finish them. Yes. And he, like, rips out the spine of some character, and I'm just like, there's blood, like, like, like the cheap little blood effects, and I'm just like,
but that's definitely,
this is not Donkey Kong and Mario or any of the other games that I had played at that point.
Absolutely not. And oh god, Mortal Kombat, so interesting. Jeez. But yeah, like, what other games did you play back in the day? Like, what were your games?
Definitely, like, the Lion King
game. The Lion King game. Yes.
The Lion King platformer, which was ridiculously hard.
That's the same with, sorry, side note, Aladdin, Disney's Aladdin, which was also came out in the Genesis, was really interesting and weirdly difficult. I don't know why, and we're big, like, Disney fans, so. See, I had them on the N64, and I remember, I think we talked about this, but I know you, but you never experienced it, but, like, the blowing in the cartridges. Yep. No, so, like, the Sega Genesis also has that, like, you had to do that for the Sega Genesis, and you had to do that for, like, the Game Boys and things like that, so, yeah.
I won't dive too much into Legend of Zelda, just because I feel like that's not a big topic we can talk about just yet.
So, for those of the viewers and, like, listeners that have no idea what we're talking about, I actually have never played Zelda until literally, like, the end of last year a little bit.
End of December, I think.
Yeah, that's when I started. So...
It's okay. We'll get her through it.
I've never played a Zelda game until this past December, which is so funny because I know the Breath of the Wild is out and stuff like that, and Hyrule Warriors and things. Yeah. But no, I wanted to dive into Zelda as, like, old Zelda. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm playing currently Ocarina of Time for the first time. That is, and I know that's your first.
That is my first Zelda game.
So I'm absolutely loving it so far. Glad. It is, I think, one of my favorite RPGs now.
Aside from my absolute favorite game, which we'll dive into, yes. I would say Ocarina of Time is up there.
Yeah.
With a few other games. But yeah, Ocarina of Time just has a place in my heart. Especially seeing you play it now. It brings back a lot of nostalgia. And, like, watching you go through... we'll get into these also, but, like, I watched you go through the Devil May Cry series. Like, watching that happen as well. And I was just like, I have so much nostalgia for so many games.
Yeah. But, so I haven't played also the Devil May Cry series until this past year as well.
That was a fun push, though. I remember, because you're like, well, what is this? You keep talking about it, because I started out with 1.
Yeah.
And,
it was good. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I went through, for those who do not know, DMC 1, and then I skipped 2, because I heard it was trash.
It's not the best.
We'll talk more about DMC.
We'll dive into DMC a little later.
That'll be separate. And then I went to DMC 3, DMC 4, and then recently I just played and finished DMC 5.
Top.
So,
quality game right there. It's a good-ass game. It's okay that you didn't play 2. As someone who did play Devil May Cry 2, because that's all we had, you're not missing much. I mean, I played it because it was a Devil May Cry
game. Right. That makes sense. But, yeah. So, and then I was, like, thinking about other games, and, like, I remember, like, handhelds and stuff, like Game Boy.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so I had the Game Boy Black and White and the Game Boy Color. So I had, like, the red Game Boy and the teal, like, Game Boy Color. And it was just, I had Pokemon. That was, like, the games that I would play on my Game Boy. Was, like, Pokemon, like, Yellow. Was, like...
So I'm so jealous because, like, I had Pokemon Stadium for the N64, but my parents, I didn't get a handheld until the Game Boy Advance, because my parents were kind of funny about us having handheld games, so that we didn't overplay video games as kids.
Right.
Sorry, Mom and Dad, I'd still overly probably play video games at 27.
Hey, that's fair. You know what? That's it's life, you know?
Yeah.
But... Yeah, so, like, Pokemon, and then was, like, Frogger was another game that I played.
Oh, Frogger.
Like, and I had, like, a Game Boy Advance, too, so, like, I had, like, the pink Game Boy Advance.
Did you?
I did.
I had the generic,
I was extra.
Like, gray-blue one. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, I know exactly the one you're talking about.
Gray-blue one.
My sister actually had that Game Boy Advance, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. But, yeah, and then I had the, and then I played, like, Hamtaro, Heartbreak.
Yes,
Which I used to, like, watch the shows, if anybody remembers, like, the shows, like, and, like, I know, like, I know you, didn't you play Hamtaro, too?
I did. Yeah. I played it and I watched it, and I had, like, so the Hamtaro, they used to sell, like, big, and they were massive, too. Probably the size of the Twitch pillow, honestly.
Oh, okay.
They were massive Hamtaro plushies. I had him, and I had another hamster whose name escapes me. I think it was the white and black hamster's name.
Okay, yeah. There was a bunch of different hamsters.
It was good. It was a good show.
It was cute. It was so cute. Oh my gosh. And I don't know what it was about that game specifically, but, like, because it's been, like, literally years since I played it. But, like, it was just so good.
I think because then, like, watching the show and then having a video game to tie into it, it's really cool, because,
Definitely.
Did you watch Zoids as a kid?
I don't think I did, no.
You know, okay. Some people probably might know what I'm talking about. It was, like, there was the people, and then they had, like, the animatronic animals, and they fought.
I think I remember seeing it, but I don't think I ever, like, actually watched it.
Oh, I loved it as a kid. I don't remember what the one that I liked the most was called, but there was, like, a video game for it.
Okay.
And I had that, and I had, like, the big Liger Zero.
Okay.
You probably at least know who Liger Zero is.
I think so, I do.
The big white lion.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I don't know.
Those are cute.
Yeah, it's probably still in my mom's attic to this day.
Oh, my gosh.
But I had, like, the big, you had to build it, Liger Zero. Wow. And then I had, like, the tiny, I think they're just called saber-toothed tigers.
Yeah.
And I think my brother had, like, the command wolf, but that made me remember, like, the Zoids games. Because watching a show and then playing the game to go with it, like, that nostalgia. Now I have a Zoid.
Yeah. So good. Oh, my gosh. And, like, I was thinking, so, like, I just remembered I have a couple of games that I played when I was a little kid. And I found one of them, like, on Steam.
Oh, what? What did you find on Steam?
So, if anybody knows, like, the Freddy the Fish. Yes! I don't know why, but, like, I have the stolen conch shell one. And it's just so good, okay? It's so I know good. It's a little kid game, but I, like, literally, I have it, I replayed it, and it was just like I remembered it yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, it was one of those games that I forgot all about, and then I was, like, looking through Steam one day, and I was like, oh, it's here!
God, Steam is, like, a dangerous place to be sometimes.
It is.
When
oh my God.
Like,
the wish list, and you could just add everything. It's easy. Like,
and then
and then when it comes on sale, then it tells you that it comes on sale.
And you get that email hey, this is on sale at Steam or whatever. Like, and I'm like, no, please don't tell me this, Steam.
Don't tell me I need to spend more money.
My Steam library just increases every time there's, like, a
me
sale.
Too.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. And there was, like, and then another game that I played on PC that I remember. It was, like, the learning games. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
I played Madeline. There used to be a show with Madeline. It was like a little French girl or something. Like,
she sounds familiar, but it's, like, leaving my, like, my brain.
Yeah, no, I don't know, it was one of those games. It was a game on PC. Honest to God, I don't remember what the game was called. But it was on,
sure.
It was on, I think it was, like, almost like Madeline's Vacation or something. I don't know, y'all. I really don't. I just remember playing it back in the day and, like, loving it because, like, I learned a lot from it, and I don't know, like, it was a learning game, so, like, you got to learn, but you got to adventure too, like, and that was, like, really interesting to me, and, like, solve puzzles and things.
Ooh, that reminds me of Barbie Detective, the Barbie Detective on PC. I'm sure somebody's gonna tell me that they know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what
you're talking about. That makes me think of Barbie Detective. Yeah, I had that. I was a Barbie kid for, like, a little bit.
Yeah,
but I think you talked about Bratz dolls kind of coming in.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
But that's definitely one of them. And then, oh my gosh, so, like, Nintendo DS.
Oh.
So, like, I had the chunky one first. So I had the silver chunky one, and then I had, like, the DS Lite. So, like, I had, like, the pink one of the DS Lite.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
So I had the chunky blue DS, and then I didn't have a DS Lite. I had a 3DS.
Okay. I never had a 3DS.
I just have a plain black 3DS.
Yeah. I had, it was Nintendogs. Nintendogs!
But which ones did you have?
I think I had, I don't know if, I had one with the poodles, because I had, growing up, I had a toy poodle, like, dog, like, IRL.
Yeah.
So, like, I was obsessed with it, and, like, I think my sister might have had, like, the lab one, I think. The yellow lab one.
Yeah.
I don't know. How about you?
I don't know which dog was, like, the cover, but I know it was the one that had the Huskies and the Shiba Inu.
The Sheebs.
I think a Husky might have been on the cover. But were you that kid that was competitive with your dogs?
Oh, 100%.
So, I don't know about you, but I had 2 huskies and I had a Shiba, and my female husky was just top tier pupper
queen.
Like, I could take this dog to, like, advanced stuff, and she would just wipe the floor. And I'm just like, dear God, like, looking back, I'm like, no, you were not competing against anybody else but this AI that's, like, I wonder how they're doing.
They're probably like the Tomodachi, like, friends or whatever. I never played that. Yeah. I don't think you ever played that. No. But it's really funny because, like, a lot of my friends played it. So, like, they were really obsessed with the Tomodachi. And, like, I never understood it. No. So, like, but, like, it's probably, like, the Tomodachi friends or whatever. Like, they probably all died or something. I don't know. I don't want to say that, but, like...
Oh, my God. Like,
they're probably, like, dying of hunger or
You're,
something.
like, making me want to go try to find, like, my Nintendogs now and, like, open it up, and they're probably dirty. And, like,
they probably need baths. And,
they
probably need food.
Maybe just a little. Oh, my gosh. I remember you couldn't go that long without doing the baths. Obviously, you had to feed them, but like the baths, like they got dirty so quickly.
They did. They
did. Time, they were always
Why did they get so dirty? I don't understand.
Cleaning them, like you had to clean them like very specifically with very specific things. Oh my God.
Sponge, and you saw like the bubbles, like
you had to like
on them.
Yeah, you had to like wipe the bubbles. Heck.
Oh gosh, Nintendo DS, my goodness. So and then do we want to talk about Dreamcast?
Oh, absolutely, please.
Okay.
I never had one. So please.
Sega Dreamcast is one of my favorite consoles. I just think it's like because like it, I don't know, it like it's like it came out with like 3D.
Yeah.
So it had like the 3D graphics, and then also it was like one of the first systems. I think it was the first system to have internet access, so you could like access the internet. Yeah. So, but it again, like it was back in the day, so like you could barely get on the internet, if at all.
It was internet, but it wasn't.
It was like it just had internet to say it had internet kind of deal. But, like, besides all that, like, graphic-wise, it was just so freaking pretty. Like, I just remember the colors sticking out and, like, the graphics just being, like, top tier. Like, for back in the day, you know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. It was so good. And, like, oh my gosh, my favorite game
is on there. I was going to say, your favorite game.
My favorite game, which, I mean... So, like, I kind of go back and forth between this and, like, Final Fantasy X, which we're going to talk about Final Fantasy in a moment. But, like, this, I think, is probably my favorite game of all time. And y'all have probably never heard of it. And if you have heard of it, talk to me, because I'm always willing to talk to more people about this game, because it is very rare. It's a very rare JRPG, and it's very anime, so it has, like, the anime guy, like, hair, and he has blue hair and stuff, and essentially the premise is that he sleeps for, like, 1,000 years, and he's called the Sleeper, and he basically gets into this mecha type deal, and he's basically in search of finding other of his kind, essentially.
Huh.
It's really interesting, but like it's very anime because it like has like tentacles tore through the ground, and like at the very beginning of it, and eventually I do want to stream this game, I think.
So it's that anime, okay?
Yes, yeah, it is one of those. Some culture here.
We love a cultured queen.
No, but it's very good. I eventually do want to play it to show for you all.
I would like to see you play it. I didn't know what it was until you told me.
Yeah, it's not a game many people know, and so actually what happened for Christmas, I want to say about 5 years ago. For those who do not know, I don't really like to talk about it because it's like, but like, I think it was 2005, I had a house fire, So it got rid of all of my gaming systems and everything. So I was never really able to, like, go back and, like, I can't, like, save my gaming systems because they were all, like, smoke damage. So it was really sad. It was a sad day. But, so, like, and then, like, there are some, like, games that aren't remastered or anything like that I couldn't ever play again because, you know, it was, you know, smoke damage and things. But that's besides the point. So essentially what happened 5 years ago was my husband decided to buy me a Dreamcast for Christmas, and he had to find a specific Dreamcast for Elemental Gimmick Gear, which is my favorite game. Sorry, I didn't say it before. So it required a certain Dreamcast for some reason to be able to play that game.
What was it, like the Japanese?
I think it was because there weren't many, like, English ports. So, like, there was, like, only so many that they ended up, like, you know, copying or doing one of those, like, things for the game itself. So it's a really interesting thing because there was a lot of copies in Japan, but there really wasn't many at all, like, in English.
Yeah.
For the English version. So it's so funny because I think back to it because, like, my family and I would play it. So, like, I think back to it, I'm like, how did my family get a hold of such a random, weird game?
You'd be surprised what parents can get a hold of.
I'm like, what the heck? Like, I didn't even think I'd like this game. You know what I mean? It's like one of those, like, where you get it for Christmas or whatever, and, like, you look at the game and you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna like it because it looks kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I was with Time Splitters. But we'll talk about that in a moment because that's, like, more like PS2 territory.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it was just kind of weird. I was like, what is this weird game? And then we played it, and then I was like, oh, this is a good game. But it's also very rare, and I didn't know that until recently. So
interesting.
Yeah, so that's me with the Dreamcast. And I think it was just, like, because I saw Sonic Adventure also on the Dreamcast, I played, like, bass fishing and stuff. But, like, Sonic Adventure, like, I remember, like, getting my Dreamcast on Christmas, like, many, many years ago for the first time. And I remember opening it up and putting in the disc and booting it and seeing, like, the freaking graphics for it and, like, how good it was at that point in time. And, like, there's a freaking whale that, like, jumps out, like, as you're running past it. Yeah, no, it's a really interesting game. It's so good. Sonic Adventure is so good, and, like, the OSTs are really good. And I recently played Sonic Generations, which was a really interesting game that I really actually very much enjoyed because I got to do, like, a little bit of everything. And it's just such a good game. So if you haven't played Sonic Generations, I think it's on what is it called? Steam. Yes. So it's really good though, and I highly recommend it. But that's pretty much Dreamcast for me. But yeah, so, like, I'm like, thinking about games. So, like, PS1.
Oh man. I know we had Rainbow Six. Yeah.
We need to talk about FPS. I'm going to talk about FPS, I think, in another video, maybe?
Yeah, I don't have much knowledge on those, so I would really like to kind of talk about what the knowledge that I do have.
Yes.
Because I have my reasons.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Rainbow Six. I remember this cat game that, like, okay, I don't know what it's called. He was, like, a cat, and there was, like, platforming, but it was totally not rated E. It was really weird, and, like, I don't even know what it's called. I'd have to, like, bug my mom.
If you know what this is called, do you know what system it was on?
It was on PS1.
Oh, okay. If you guys know what the heck this...
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was loud. If you guys know what this is called, please do leave it in the comments below, or, you know, chat one of us up.
Yeah, I remember playing it. My parents would play with us. Oh god, what else did we have on PS1? I'm trying to, like... So my favorite game... We'd have to dive into PS2 for, like, a hot second to talk about it. Because I have to backtrack.
Right. So let me real first talk about a couple of PS1 games for me. So Oddworld was one of them, which if you guys don't know what Oddworld is, I know that they have the remastered version that you can get on PS4, which is like Abe's Odyssey, which I think is the one that came out with the PS1, but it's just remastered. Okay. And it's really good. It's just a side scroller. It's got like really interesting like mechanics to it. It's actually a really interesting game. It's funny and quirky and weird, and hence odd. And then I think they just came out with Oddworld 2. I believe they just came out with it for the PS5, or I don't know if it just came out or if it's coming out for the PS5, but I'm one of those. But yeah, it's coming out, I believe. So it was just one of those games. So that game specifically is what I think got me into gaming, which is it's so weird for me to say. Because my uncle, he really, really enjoyed gaming. I didn't have a PS1, but he did. So we would go over his house all the time. And like me and my sister would play this game called Oddworld with him. And I just remember loving it. And like that's kind of like how he got us into gaming, essentially, is because of Oddworld. And then, we kind of continued from there. So then I had like the Yu-Gi-Oh game.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, and then like I also, like Kat said, I was kind of into Bratz a little bit, like as a kid. Yeah. So like I had the Bratz game, if anybody knows what I'm talking about, on PS1. It was such a weird, interesting game, and I don't remember too much of it, because it's been such a long time. Oh yeah. But it was really good overall.
I remember the Yu-Gi-Oh game.
Yeah.
I think it was called Duelist Kingdom, actually.
I'm pretty sure it was, yeah. I think that sounds about right.
But yeah, my brother and I would play it because, like, you were in the past.
Yes.
And then you had to go in the future. And it was, like, the Pegasus arc of, like,
Yu-Gi-Oh.
The first Yu-Gi-Oh anime.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really good.
It was pretty good. It was a lot of fun. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. I remember that, and I remember Duelist Rose. Do you remember Duelist Rose? I think that was more PS2.
I think that sounds about right.
I don't think I remember.
Because I only played, I think, Duelist Kingdom from PS1. Yeah. I think that's because I had like multiple discs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
I had like 2 discs or something for PS1.
Oh, those were the days.
Which I guess you can start talking about.
Oh gosh,
your favorite game.
I shall. I will dive into PS2 for just a second, so I can say how I got to this point.
Yes,
I'm sure we all know what Kingdom Hearts is.
Yeah.
If you don't know,
you should play it.
You should play it. They're really good games. I really enjoy it. Is the story confusing as all hell? Absolutely. But
if you like Final Fantasy and Disney and stuff, you probably would like this game.
I remember, do you remember House of Mouse?
Yes. Yes.
So I owned the VH version of the Halloween special.
Yes.
And I remember there being a thing for Kingdom Hearts. Like, you know, when the previews would play, and you'd have to... So I remember there being one for Kingdom Hearts. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want that game. So I was able to get Kingdom Hearts, and I played it. And I met Squall or Leon, you know, they call him Leon. Yeah. I don't really care what you call him. I know who you're talking about. It's fine. And then UV, Aerith, Sid, but what really drew me in to my favorite game was meeting Cloud Strife in Olympus Coliseum. Yeah. And I think what is really cool to this day that I had recognized as an adult, or as I was growing older, is that his outfit is very much like Vincent's.
Yes, we love Vincent.
We love Vincent Valentine. This is a Vincent Valentine loving podcast.
Which we will talk about all of that.
We are going to have an episode about characters. We have to have an episode about characters.
And characters that live in my head.
Rent-free. Yeah, no, we will. It's fine. I'll admit
Good.
I've got plenty.
Good!
But Cloud really just... It's good. It's fine.
It's fine. This is fine. Okay, anyway, sorry.
Cloud Strife, though, just really pulled me in.
Cloud Strife is good.
He really is. As a kid, I was like, well, I remember approaching my older neighbor that I told you had the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, that's a Final Fantasy character. And I'm like, he's like, actually, quite... And he, like, told me that, like, most of them are from 7, apart from Squall, who is from Final Fantasy 8 and is the main character. I was like, well, how do I play this? Yeah. And I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about. I still, to this day, own my own copy of the PS1 with all 3 discs. The nostalgia...
I can't believe you still have...
I do.
Well, actually, I can believe it.
I do.
But, like, that is...
Nope, I still have awesome. All 3 discs in the case. And I remember playing it for the very first time, and the OST still gives me nostalgia to this day. Aerith's theme still gives me... It hits me. Like, there's just... I will cry to the opening. Aerith's theme can make me cry. I loved just the dynamic switch between what you thought you were doing in 7. If you haven't played it, you definitely 100% should. It is fantastic for RPG.
Yes, and also I'm gonna mention here too, because we're kind of getting a little bit into a little bit of games, you know, I mean?
Yes.
Egg, I feel like, is... I mean, I gave, like, a brief synopsis of it, but essentially, we're probably only going to be giving, like, brief synopsis. Any spoilers, we're probably going to say, hey, this is where the spoilers start, because I know that, like, a lot of people don't like spoilers, and I myself, you know, with only just starting, you know, Zelda Ocarina of Time, you know, can really understand that and relate to that. So,
of course.
You know.
And I know the game came out in 97, but, you know, a lot of people
are still playing it to this day because...
Or, as you know, the remake just came out. Like, about a year ago, and for a lot of people, they don't... That's all they had, but...
Which we'll talk about the remake probably in another episode.
I would like to talk about it.
Yeah.
I have a couple things I'd like to talk about.
Me
like,
too.
For 7, Me just too. In general, for, like, an episode.
I would love that. No, yeah, for sure.
But very brief synopsis. You're Cloud Strife.
Yep.
Ex-soldier Cloud Strife. Our lovely boy. Who I love with all my heart. I would still say to this day he's my favorite character.
Like in all of Final Fantasy or in 7?
Oh, and hands down he's my favorite. I have such an emotional and nostalgic attachment to Cloud Strife. But, you know, and you get your party members and you have this mission, and then I love the dynamic changes between what you thought you were doing and what you end up doing. Yeah. And that is all I will really say on it, because I would love it if people didn't play it. To play it.
Yeah. And, like, yeah, because we don't want to wait.
No. Spoilers. I even, like, I know it's older. I don't want to spoil things, you know? Like, I
agree.
I think it just makes the experience so much better.
Agreed.
But I would say, to this day, over 20 years later, I still cry to things in 7.
Me too. And I actually have played 7 myself, but it just, you know, I played it about, like, 5 years ago, because I know that, you know, it was Kat's favorite game, and, like, I've heard from, like, so many people that it was so good, and so I played the remastered version of 7, which was actually very good.
Yeah, it's
and
really
I
good.
really, really enjoyed it. You know, I especially enjoyed, like, the Turks and everything. So, like, a lot of, like, I don't know. I did very much enjoy 7. It's not my favorite Final Fantasy, which we'll talk in a minute about my favorite Final Fantasy. But you know, it is, it's definitely up there for me. I really like 7 a lot.
And it's just hit me nostalgia again, because I just
finished the second 2.
Yeah, I'm playing the Steam port on stream, and I just finished
How is the Steam port?
Really good. I did get stuck underwater. In a cave, and then of course my lovely streamer luck Emerald Weapon freaking shows up, like, right next to me, and I'm, like, panicking.
You're
so
like, I quit.
Right, well, because of course you'd get stuck, and then Emerald Weapon shows up.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Oh, and I'm like, everyone's like, fight him, and I'm like, not now.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So that's because that was a PS1 game.
I played the other Final Fantasy. I played quite a few Final Fantasies on PS1.
Yes.
I've played 8, which I know you haven't played 8, so I won't say much outside of that.
Yeah, I have not played 8, but I have 8, and I'm actually going to be playing 8 very soon. 6 or 8, I think, is going to be one of my next Final Fantasies that I'm working on. I did just beat Final Fantasy 1, and that was over the summer. I did beat it on my little mini vacation that I had when I went to Myrtle Beach real quick. But I was safe and everything. But yeah, no, I played it it was on my mobile phone. So I was just sitting there playing it on my mobile phone. So if you haven't played it, it's a really good game. It actually blew my expectations out of the water. And then I continued to play Final Fantasy 2. So I think I'm almost done with Final Fantasy 2. I'm still working on Final Fantasy 2. But it's a really good game. I think I recommend Final Fantasy 1 more than I think Final Fantasy 2. But, those are really good, I think, good games that I actually didn't expect, anything, but it's really interesting to see, how, Final Fantasy started and, how it all happened and everything like that. So it's really interesting.
It's really interesting to see the graphical changes because 6 is the last one to have the 2D graphics and 7 is where they kind of upped the graphics and put it in the more 3D style. And then 8, it just increases, 9, 10, and here we are with 16 coming out this year.
Oh my gosh. We can't wait for 16.
We will definitely be talking about 16.
We're going to be talking about Final Fantasy. Literally, I feel like one of our episodes we're going to talk about Final Fantasy.
I feel like, we could definitely just dive fully into a lot of Final Fantasy.
So, that's going to happen at some point. So, stay tuned for that. And then do we want to dive into PS2 then?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, my first game for the PS2, and I don't know if anybody, there's a couple of launch games, but, the launch game that I ended up getting for the PS2 was called Evergrace, if anybody remembers that. So, it's a From Software, it's the first From Software game that I've ever played. And I'm currently playing Dark Souls with this one right here on stream. So, it's been really fun. Dark Souls has been an interesting experience for sure so far.
But you're
I feel like I'm getting better at it now. So it's been. Well, we'll dive into that. I think at some other point as well.
I would love to talk Souls games.
So we're gonna talk about a little bit of everything. Okay.
If you haven't noticed, we really like video games.
We do, but specifically JRPGs, RPGs, things of that nature. I feel like it's kind of more our shtick. But yeah, so Evergrace is a very interesting game. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird and quirky and strange as all freaking get out. And of course it's a From Software game, so you have absolutely no idea what the freak you're doing in the game. So you're probably at the beginning you're what the heck is this? I'm just gonna freaking wander around until I figure crap out. Because that's just how From Software games are. You know what I'm saying? So it's a really interesting game. It has a really interesting OST that weirdly gets stuck in my head all the time, nonstop. I swear. It may sound like a weird game to play, but it's got a really interesting good OST. I don't know. It's a really interesting game. Y'all should check it out.
I've seen my husband play it a little bit.
Yes.
My husband is a huge FromSoft fan. Huge.
Soulsborne, FromSoft.
Yes. He's the reason I dove into the series myself, because I was always that person who's oh, that's too difficult. There's no way I could do it. And here I am, beating Dark Souls 1, 3, Bloodborne, Sekiro, Demon Souls recently.
Right.
Very recently just played Demon Souls. The new one.
I want a PS5.
It's very it's very gorgeous. It's a very good game. I adored, and there's this thing that happened, and I'm so glad I played the other games prior, because there was that little detail that kind of just hit me in a really weird nostalgic way. Even though I just played them, I was oh my god, I just experienced this.
Yes. which I actually want to talk about that in just a second, too. But, like, that's more like PS3 games. And, Xbox 360 games.
I'm not going to have I'm not going to have a lot of knowledge on... Like, I will, like, just a smidgen. I never owned a PS3. No, my brother had one. And it was at that point that we stopped sharing consoles.
Oh!
And he did not share because we're only 2 years apart, so we were getting into teenager years, and he was very like, no, I don't want to share it, and then I just never... I got to play some games.
Right.
But we're on PS2.
I'm still going. So did you want to talk about the next PS2 game or something?
Sure. I mean, I already brought up Kingdom Hearts. So I feel like we don't need to dive into Kingdom Hearts. I feel like we could talk about that at a different
possibly.
With how much is in it, I think we could definitely. Yeah, because that's like that.
Oh my gosh.
There's a lot to it.
There's a lot.
I remember getting it.
Kingdom Hearts is so good.
I remember playing it for my brother.
Yeah, I had Kingdom Hearts because I loved Disney, right? And I actually didn't know about Final Fantasy.
I didn't either.
So, like, until Kingdom Hearts. So it's, like, really funny because, like, Titus was there and Waka and things.
Yep.
And I was like, oh.
Sophie is an 8.
Right. And, like, there's so many, like, Final Fantasy characters in there. Yep. And, like, I was like, well, who are these characters? You know what I mean? So, gosh, Kingdom Hearts is so freaking good. And I remember, I think I got it for, like, Christmas or something one year, and then I played it, and, like, me and my sister would play, like, take turns playing it together, and it was just so good.
I remember playing it
like, the songs, Simple and Clean. Let's be real.
It's still, it does, the other ones don't hit as hard as I feel like Simple and Clean.
Oh, God.
There's nothing out there like Simple and Clean.
No.
Utada.
She's so good.
She is queen.
Yeah.
But I'm going to dive into a PS2 game that you recently, just like I mentioned, got to play. That was a series that I think a lot of people are surprised I didn't jump into the other one.
Oh, okay.
Which is Devil May Cry.
Oh,
Devil May Cry
heck,
1.
We're going here.
Heck! Listen, if we're talking about PS2, I gotta dive into Devil May Cry.
Yes, fair.
Because the first 3 games are PS2.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people, I think I told you this. Devil May Cry 1 was supposed to be Resident Evil 4, which is the only Resident Evil game I've played, and a lot of people are always surprised to hear that...
You played Resident Evil 4?
Yeah, see, a lot of people are surprised because they're both Capcom, but I was a Devil May Cry person. I played Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
And I played, I want to play the other ones eventually, but yeah, I've played 4.
Okay.
And
I recently played Resident Evil 5 with one of my friends on stream, so...
That looked like fun. We might have to do that together.
That would be really...
I would love to play with you at some point, because I don't think I'd play it without a friend.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's a really fun game. But anyway, that's Resident Evil.
I'm not gonna lie, Devil May Cry is rated M, and should I have played it at the age that I did?
I feel like that's a lot of the games, though.
Did my parents stop me? No.
Same with mine.
But a lot of people will be like, oh, you like Devil May Cry, you must like... And it's not that I don't like Resident Evil.
I think that's why I didn't play those games. I think that's why, is because, like, it said horror game. So, like, I immediately thought horror, and I'm like, okay. I'm okay with horror games.
Oh, I love a good horror game.
You like horror games more than I do.
Good horror.
But, like, I'm also a big... chicken and wuss, and like I feel like I have to play with people or something.
You did good.
Like with Phasmophobia, I feel like I would have to play with people. You know what I mean? I feel like that's just like one of those games. But anyway, that's getting more recent games. But
yeah, a lot of people will be like, "Oh, then you like Resident Evil," and I was like, "I don't dislike it. I don't have much knowledge."
Right.
And it's what I prefer. I like Resident Evil, but I remember playing Devil May Cry 1.
Right.
And I loved Dante from the minute I saw him. I thought he was fantastic. That game still holds to this day, in my opinion. And 2 is not the best. 2 is not. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Since we're talking PS2 games, I'm gonna talk about the 3, if that's okay. Since the first 3
totally fine. I feel like we can dive into Devil May Cry at some point.
Super dive
in. Yeah, a lot of these games we're probably going to super dive in. But, like, we're just, like, briefly talking about these games because I feel like they're the most, like, nostalgic games to us.
Yeah, because, like, Ocarina of Time, 7, Devil May Cry, like, and Kingdom Hearts, obviously, like, very, very top games for me. I played 2. A lot of people, I think, are surprised to hear that somebody played Devil May Cry 2. Because it's not very good.
Yeah.
As somebody who has played it.
I have not.
But back then, that's all I had.
Right.
You know, I got Devil May Cry 1, and then Devil May Cry 2 comes on. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No, it's not good.
Right.
It's not good at all. But that's okay, because Devil May Cry 3 made up for it a lot.
Devil May Cry 3 was good.
Devil May Cry 3 was... 5 and 3 fight for top Devil May Cry game for me, because there's the nostalgia points for 3.
I agree with that.
There's nostalgia points for 3, but 5.
Yes.
Just the whole thing of 5. I'm not even going to say anything, because we're going to do a whole thing where we talk spoilers about everything. We will do an entire episode where we can just talk for free.
Talk for free.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Yes!
Like, it'll be spoiler territory. I won't say anything, but, like, there's just whatever, like, all the things in 5 and 3 just... It's like, my nostalgia fights me, and then this stuff fights me.
Devil May Cry 1 was definitely necessary, because it plays into Devil May Cry 5, I think, very, very much.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very much. And then Devil May Cry 3 was very good. I think a lot of, like, the fights were... And, like, a lot of, like, the mechanics of Devil May Cry 3, like, kept going throughout Devil May Cry series, except for 5, I believe.
5 just had such an increase in combat.
Was really interesting. I will say that. I didn't expect it, but it was very good. Like, it was well done. Well, I think it was.
And I think it's mostly because we had a new combat style.
Yeah.
There was a new combat style in our good character V, then that's all I will say outside of that. I'm done right there. We can talk about him later. We'll talk about him later.
V is Kat's, like, husbando, essentially. Like, of life.
Top quality man right there.
Which we'll talk about our husbandos, because Sanji is my husbando of life.
Yeah. We can talk about...
From One Piece, by the way.
We will totally talk about all of
Jesus.
the...
That's more anime, but
that's okay. But yeah, it's really interesting to see how far it's come and to have such a different play style in him, because I remember playing it, not going to say anything else outside of this, but I remember playing it and getting to play as him, and I'm like, this is different, but I like it.
Yes, same.
A lot of people...
And that's the same for Devil May Cry 4, because Nero was different. Was very different play style, and I wasn't used to it, but I really liked it.
Yeah, I did like it.
Like, I really liked it. But yeah, I agree. I think DMC3 or DMC5, I think, is one of my favorite DMCs as well. Yeah. Now actually playing, basically, the series, essentially, except for DMC2.
Honestly, 2 is not even a part of it anymore, so it's okay.
Jesus. But...
I have to ask, stepping away from Devil May Cry, because unfortunately, if we keep going... We will
just talk about Devil May Cry.
My poor heart will keep going.
I will also...
And she will now keep going.
I will... Because I understand.
We're going to plan this episode, because I'm ready to pick your brain.
Good.
This girl finished the series.
Finished it.
So I'm ready to
literally
pick your
just finished it. I'm ready. But anyway.
Did you play Okami?
I did not.
You did not play Okami.
But listen, I just got it for... I think I have it for Steam. I know there's a port to Switch as well. But I have not been able to play it. I've seen it. I've seen people play it. I know it's good.
It is gorgeous.
I just need to sit down and play it.
Please do. I remember picking that up, and it is a watercolored art style game.
Is it an indie game? I love indie games.
I would say so, I think. I don't remember who does it. Oh, it's escaping me who the game developers were for that. But I remember playing it, and I loved the art brush.
It's so pretty. I do know that it's gorgeous. Like, and that's the same for, like, Child of Light is a good I
haven't played that.
It's such a pretty freaking game, but that's also a newer game. But we're not. We're gonna dive into more of that kind of stuff, like, another time.
Yeah.
But and then, like, oh gosh, okay, so a game that, like, sticks out in my brain that I'm actually currently playing with my sister because it is very nostalgic to me, and it's a PS2 game. And it only came out for PS2, and it hasn't been, like, remastered or anything like that. So I'm actually playing it on a PS2 with my sister right now, and it's my favorite it's my favorite Herbs game. It's my favorite Sims game. So if you guys know, like, The Sims, Sims 4, Sims Pets, things like that, it is my favorite Sims game. It's called Herbs, Sims in the City. If y'all know what the heck I'm talking about, you guys know that is such a top-tier freaking Sims game, because you have, like, you go through all these cities, and I'm just kind of giving, like, the brief overview. You basically go through all of these different cities, and you have to, like, get your reputation up.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And dress in the style of the places that you go to.
Oh, really?
And it's multiplayer, so, like, you could play with a second player.
A PS2 game / Xbox game that I recently just played that you have not, but we're going to jump into a horror game for just a second.
Oh.
Is Silent Hill 2.
Oh, God.
So I know that's not nostalgic for me, but it is a PS2 game.
Yeah.
I'm almost positive it is.
Yeah.
I played it thanks to a very good friend asking me to play it. I actually streamed it, and I loved it.
Yeah.
That was my first Silent Hill game.
I still want to play. I was going to play. I was actually thinking about playing Silent Hill 2, which I think eventually I will. I wasn't comfortable, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I have to be comfortable to play a horror game because, I don't know, I get freaked out very, very easily.
2 is a lot. 2 is a lot to take in, because they're not long games.
No.
I think it took me maybe 9.5 hours to beat Silent Hill 2.
Yeah.
And I would say it's very creepy, but I liked it. I absolutely loved the whole story and watching it unfold.
I will really have to.
So
really,
not so much nostalgic, but just older game that I did get the chance to play.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so, like, then I immediately think of platformers.
Oh, good.
So, okay, wait. Okay, so well, I'm going to start listing them.
Go on.
Crash Bandicoot.
Absolutely.
Okay. We have Spyro.
Absolutely.
We have Sly Cooper, which needs a freaking mastered
100% needs remastered.
And, yes.
Somebody put this game series on a system that I can play that is not my PS2.
I know, it's so good. And then, like, Jak and Daxter series, Ratchet and Clank series.
Ooh, yes.
So freaking good. Like, those are, like, the immediate, like, platformer games that I think of, like PS1, PS2 kind of games that I, like, immediately think of.
I was a big Jak and Daxter kid.
I was too.
Yeah.
I was more of a Jak and Daxter kid then.
I liked Sly Cooper.
Yeah.
But was huge into Jak and Daxter. I loved the open world and all the puzzles and the story. And I do not like Jak 2 as much as I like Jak and Daxter.
Yeah, I agree with that. Jak and Daxter was good. I think Jak 3 was really good.
Jak 3 is good.
Jak X, weirdly, is good. Have you ever played Jak X?
Is that the racing game? No, minimal. I never finished.
Okay, it's weirdly a good racing game. Like, it's different. I feel like it's different than a lot of, like, the racing games.
Yeah.
But, like, that's just, like, immediately what I think of when I think of,
I'm glad you agree about 2.
No!
Though.
Yes, no, 2 was okay.
That
was
threw me off.
It was mid. It was subpar, I think.
Well, so, like, because the precursor legend, the very first game
Legacy.
was so... Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Was so good.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And then I was like, when I heard, when you hear there's another one coming out, I'm like, okay, cool. Except the rating was teen. And as you know, Jak and Daxter was rated E.
Well, because, like, there's such a drastic difference between... There was a drastic... Like, I could remember a drastic difference between... Jak and Daxter, Precursor Legacy to Jak 2. And even, like, Jak 3. Like, those 3 in a row, like, there was so many different, like... It just felt different. Like, it was completely different. Yeah, we'll move on from Jak. But What else? I'm like thinking of other PS2 games.
I'm trying to think. Oh gosh, I think you mentioned Shadow of the Colossus.
Yes! Okay, so Shadow of the Colossus is really, really good. I know there's a predecessor before that as well called Ico.
Yeah, Ico.
And that was actually, I think, on the PS1, and it was remade on the PS3, actually. Yep. So it was like a bundle with the Shadow of the Colossus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was... It's very good. I'm glad you got to play it.
Oh my gosh, it was really, really good. So, and I had a really good time with it. So
I'm glad.
Yeah, it was a good puzzle game. So if you were into that, because that was really a great. I really enjoyed that. Like I played it on the PS3, not Shadow of the Colossus, because that was remade for PS4 and stuff. But Ico was for PS3, so I got to play that. And then, like, I guess we can jump into PS3 games. So, Assassin's Creed, right?
Yeah, Assassin's Creed, Devil May Cry 4. I did not play this on the PS3, but I had the PlayStation version, the PlayStation 4 version, and I think you did too, The Last of Us.
Yes. Very good horror game. And actually, that was my first horror game. So
that's so surprising.
Yeah. So, like, I don't do horror games, but it was really funny because, like, I played this horror game and, like, at the time, like, I was getting Kat into this game and, like, I was like, you would like this if you enjoy, like, horror games. So, and it's, like, more of, like, an adventure horror game, honestly.
I liked it, yeah. It was very, very good, especially, and I loved it, especially as someone who liked Devil May Cry and played Resident Evil 4.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So, and then... I'm trying to think of other games. So PS3 had Nier.
It did have Nier.
Which was really, really good, I might add. And it literally is getting a remake of Replicant, which was one of the Niers, which the difference between the two, there was Nier Gestalt and Nier Replicant. And Nier Gestalt had Papa Nier. And Nier Replicant had Brother Nier, was mainly like the main differences, I would say. You know, there's a lot of lore behind all of that, but you know, it's one of those things. But I really enjoyed that, like, it took some aspects of Nier to, like, Nier Automata. Like what you said before about, you know, Demon Souls versus all the other Soulsborne games and, like, you know... Yeah, it was really, really good, and I highly recommend Nier. It's coming out in April, so...
I'm very excited to get to play it for the very first time. Because I loved Automata, so I'm very excited to get to play as Brother Nier and get more story lore.
I feel like it was such an underrated game. Like, if you liked Nier Automata, you probably are gonna like, you know, Nier Replicant. You probably really will. So, and it made me very, very an emotional wreck because of certain things that I'm not gonna say because I can't.
Not yet.
Not yet, but I will eventually. I think we'll have some spoilers, probably another time. But yeah, like, those were mainly, like, the PS3 games. I can't really honestly remember any of the top of my head.
I know the Batman series was on there.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you said one that you played that I have not played.
I don't know if that was that Infamous?
I think so. I don't know if that's PS3, though. I don't remember.
I feel like I thought that was PS2, PS3.
Perhaps.
I don't remember. It's been so long since I played that game. And it was, like, okay. It was, like, an okay game. But it was decent, like, enough.
When you played so many video games, it's hard to keep track of the ones that don't hit you.
Jesus. It really is. I don't know if... Was Heavy Rain on PS3?
Yeah.
I feel like Heavy Rain was on PS3.
I never played Heavy Rain.
Heavy Rain's really good. For those that do not know, it's the same people that made Detroit Become Human. It was the game. Either. It was the game before that. So, and it's a really good, like, telltale, like, game essentially. So you get to, like, choose your own adventure essentially.
Yeah.
It's a really fun game. And I highly recommend it. So
yeah,
you know, one of these days maybe you might like to play it. Perhaps. Per heckin'.
Per heckin'.
So, yeah. So, I think that's pretty much about it. Yeah, if you guys, like, if there's anything... Before that. Games that we would replay again from childhood and games that would not be best to revisit.
I feel like I would play a lot of the games we mentioned again. I feel like my nostalgia would I would go through all of them all over again. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, Devil May Cry 2, probably not you. We'll get into that at some point.
Yes. Perhaps.
We will do a major Devil May Cry episode, but I think really that's like the only one I would never replay again.
Yeah.
Other than that, no. I would love to revisit all of these games.
Yeah.
They're so good. Like, video games are just fantastic. And
yes.
I don't know. Do you have a game you would not play?
I don't. Honestly, like, on the top of my head, I don't actually think that I do. Like, I actually don't. Because I actually really enjoyed, like, a lot of them. Like, another game that I actually didn't mention that I just, like, thought about now was, it was called SSX Tricky, and it was, like, the snowboarding game.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But it was, like, weirdly good. Like, it was weirdly good, and, like, I did Gran Turismo back in the day and things like that, but I don't really like any kind of sport games. I don't know. I just never got into it. I don't know if you ever got into it. Mm-mm. I never got into it. But yeah, I agree. I think, I don't really think I would not play a game again. Like, at least for, like, nostalgia purposes. I don't think I would ever not play a game. But, again, we ask you guys.
Yes.
If you have a game that you would replay or would not replay ever again, please let us know down in the comments below. Yes. And we would love to hear, like, any of your thoughts on any of the games that we talked about or any of the things that we were talking about. Down below in the comments. So, and also, don't forget to subscribe, like, all that kind of jazz, share.
Tell a friend.
You guys know what to do. But, all of our links and everything like that is going to be down below. I'm really, really happy with how this went. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. It's a podcast, so it's a little bit longer than normal, but it was fun. It was really nice. I really liked it, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm really happy that the first episode of One Up Spot went well. So
we did it.
We did good. So, and I can't wait for the next episode.
Yes.
It's going to be really fun.
It's going to be really fun.
It's going to be good. So, and I
don't know if we should say anything or not, if we should just let it...
I think we're just going to let it go.
You're going to have to wait.
You'll have to wait till next time, but it'll be good.
It's good. I picked it.
So, yeah, it's, Kat will be the next host, and we're going to, like, constantly, like, rotate hosts. So, yeah. I'm really excited, you guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Me too. We will see you guys next time up on One Up Spot.
Later.
Bye.